Roblox has some weird yet rather impressive fucking games. I mean, have you seen that one Frontlines game that looks like a Call of Duty ripoff? Yeah, to this day I'm still surprised that that's in Roblox. But in this video we're not going to be talking about Frontlines. Instead, we're going to be showing off a couple of Sonic fan games that were created in Roblox, and yes, they do indeed exist. I don't know how, I don't know why, but they exist. Now, I'm just going to choose a couple of select games that I've personally found. If there is any games that I did not showcase in this video that you would like for me to show off in maybe a part 2 or something, feel more than free to leave them down in the comments below, and maybe I'll get to that. But another thing I want to mention, so if you've played Sonic games, you would know that it's primarily best to play with a controller. No shit, right? And yes, I do have a controller, but the inverted camera controls in Roblox sucks. For some reason, it only inverts looking up and down, but not left and right. Why not just have an option for both? I don't fucking get it. So if there's some instances where the camera looks wonky as shit, or if I screw up some things with the camera, that's why. But I won't let that be a fault of the games that I will be playing. It'll just be a fault of Roblox. The first game we will be playing today is going to be called Sonic Rising Chaos, and I don't want this video playing. Sonic Rising Chaos is a game that is heavily inspired by the first two Sonic Adventure games, as well with some elements from Sonic Advance 2. If you do not know, that is the 2D Sonic game that was on the Game Boy Advance at the time. So we're greeted with this disclaimer here, saying that this is a non-profit Sega game, and it's not official, all that shit, blah blah blah. Stuff that you should expect from a fan game. That was a Nier Automata soundbite. Cannot recall where that's from. It really does sound like she's saying time to die. So anyways, our options are Sonic, Shadow, Tails, Knuckles. Yeah, now obviously I want to play Shadow. I'm just kidding. I think Sonic's the only character available, so I don't know why the other options were available. Okay, so as you could see, the model is heavily inspired by Sonic Adventure 2's Soap Shoe Sonic, and we go at Mach speed for some reason. So we have a simple homing attack, or air dash if you will. Homing attack only triggers when we're nearby something that we can homing attack, and yes, there was jet set radio noises. We also have a spin dash, pretty self-explanatory. Can't really go wrong with that. Pressing X1 midair makes you use the bounce ability from Sonic Adventure 2. The spin dash kind of reminds me of Sonic Adventure DX's spin dash, or I guess a Sonic Adventure if you will, where you don't have to hold it down for a good while to get it to start up anyway. You could just simply press the button and it'll work, and that happened. So in other words, you could just kind of do this and just run at the Mach speed. Jesus Christ, what's happening here? Now there's also some little funny tricks you could do. Like I said, this was inspired in a lot of ways by Sonic Advance 2. So there are some ways to do tricks. That would allow me to know what the controls are in this game. Well, luckily, there's a little pedestal here that'll show us all the controls of what we need to play. It even shows it for PlayStation controls too, so if you don't have an Xbox controller like me, well, now you know what to do. I feel like this is kind of way too far zoomed out though, and even when you're close up, you can't really see everything, but it does the job. Yeah, and for some reason, whenever you die, the game likes to pretend that it loads you in a different instance when that's most likely not the case, though I could be wrong. But okay, Sonic controls pretty damn well, all things considered. And the moves that I do have with the blue blur, pretty nice. Nothing really to complain about, all things considered. Okay, now we're gonna actually play through a legit level that does exist, so that way we could truly see how well Sonic controls in an actual level where we can play and run around in. Alright, so we have race mode, extra levels, and the Chaos Station. I think race mode does work, however, there's not really much different to it as far as I'm aware. So we're gonna click on extra levels, which will take us to the levels that exist. We have 1-2 from Sonic Frontiers, aka Apodos, Green Hill, because why the hell not, Emerald Coast, Pumpkin Chase, which I'm pretty sure is just Pumpkin Hill, but whatever, and Snowcap, which is probably just Ice Cap. Anyways, let's start with 1-2. A lot of people know that one from Frontiers, and it is the latest mainline Sonic game at the time of me recording this, of course. So, I mean, what you gonna do? Oh, and the music is kind of quiet because I turned down the volume. Well, whatever. We're okay. Good start. Good start. All right. So far, Nothing too bad. The camera's a little wonky with some of the parts of the automation. Okay, so we're dead. Okay, so I'm dead again. All right, awesome. We're doing great. Okay, it's just like the adventure titles. You gotta hold a certain direction and then press the jump button. Okay, no problem. Oh, let's try that again. Up. I don't think I'm supposed to be up here, but I am. And that's the level done. With more Jet Set Radio music. Luckily, we can hit next to go to the next level too, so that saves us a good amount of time. Or it'll just take us back to this. Do I really gotta sit through this each and every time? Alright, I guess Green Hill's next. Since this is inspired by the Sonic Adventure titles, I wonder if they'll do the layout from Sonic Adventure 2's Green Hill. Or it'll be 2D, because why should I be happy? Was that really it?
Ooh, barely made it.
Wait, if next just brings me back to the main menu, then what does leave do? What difference does this make? Since this is based off of Sonic Adventures, that I can homing attack that? So there's vocals to this. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'll leave to the... You have to forgive me, guys. This game thought that I was the Game Grumps, so they decided to show off a glitch that doesn't show up for virtually anybody else. Seriously, the Game Grumps found so many glitches that I just never even knew existed in these damn games. What the hell? You mean you had a vocal version of the piss off game? So they had like a vocal remix of the first act's music, but for the second act they just decided screw it, let's not? Why? Also, there's really just a grind rail at that one portion. That's kind of dumb. In conclusion, Sonic controls pretty damn well, all things considered, and the levels, while not the greatest, they still got their own charm to it. However, there's some other kinks to it that have some problems, like the camera screwing up the control, or certain sections that should be automated to prevent Sonic from flinging off somewhere not being automated, like the loops, for example. I'd say I give this a 8 out of 10, which is still, like, really good, you know? It's not that bad. Next is Sonic Infinity DX2. I don't know what this is, actually, but it's in my continue, so I've played it. Okay. Oh, I remember what this is. So this is just one of those open world little Sonic games. You could just kind of dick around and find out, right? It's not that deep, really. I've played through this game before as Shadow, and as you can see, I look very similar to Mephiles. I'll get to that momentarily. But anyways, like I said, this is just kind of a open world sort of Sonic game. There's no goal or anything. You just run around with the funny little engine that this... I don't know if the creator made this or if there's actual Sonic engines within Roblox that exist. I can't really say for certain. Now we can go ahead and see there are skins that exist. My mouse cursor does not exist in Roblox. So you're able to look through different types of skins, like you could look like the Shadow Android, for instance, Shattuck from the fucking Nazo Unleashed, which is goated. Sonic could turn into Sonic.exe, not goated. You could even make him look like when he's a Zombot. Or be Silkadoom if you want. Anyways, there are 3 playable characters in this game. Sonic, of course, and Shadow, as you can clearly see, and Metal Sonic. Each of them have their own little special funny abilities. Sonic has the ability to bounce, kind of like in Sonic Adventure 2, for instance. Shadow has this Chaos Warp thing, which not only gives him a boost of speed, but also gives him a bit of verticality in the air for a bit. And Metal Sonic just has a hover, kind of similar to like E102 Gamma. But honestly, it's like, it is what it is. It's whatever. It's not that deep. And regardless of who you play, you still get the shitty classic Sonic Extra Life icon. I'm so glad the newest key art for Sonic X Shadow Generations has classic Sonic being the Shadow. And for those who want to say, oh, classic Sonic's the alternate dimension version of Sonic, shut up. That retcon is stupid and no one's going to actually believe that. No one with a brain, at least. There are lives around the area, but they virtually do nothing for you. Like, yeah, you can run out of lives, but, like, you can also reset and get the original amount of lives you had back, so it's like, I don't know. If you're running at a decent speed, you can actually run on water for a little bit, which is actually kind of cool. Although this obviously doesn't last forever, and there are caveats to everything that I do in life. By the way, speaking of lives, these things are just kind of scattered all over the place. Not even in like an item monitor, they're just a little classic Sonic head running around. Sonic Infinity DX 2.0, old, I guess hence the name old. It's either no longer being worked on. Oh, it's even in there in the description. So yeah, this is just kind of here as an old project here. It's nothing really too special, and it doesn't have anything really worthy of note. I like the idea of the inclusion of skins. In fact, Metal Sonic has his Mach 3.0 look. So, like, that's kind of cool. I like Mach 3. However, in terms of an objective factor, you only have Green Hill, and even then it's not a full level. It's just a pseudo open world, which is fine, but there's not really anything to do. So, I would give this a 4 out of 10, all things considered. Next we have on the list is Sonic Stardrop. It's a Sonic Utopia-inspired fan game. I know there was some drama with Sonic Utopia. I didn't personally look into it, so I can't say anything about it. But hey, I'll say one thing about this game. It's kind of cool. So this is kind of pseudo open world, sort of similarly to Sonic Infinity or whatever the fuck the other one was called. There are lives in this game, but there's no live counter. I don't really get that. Now you may think that I'm going to dock points of it being pseudo 3D. Well, considering that the area looks very similar to an actual Sonic level, I'm not going to dock too much off of that. And plus, some people might like this kind of playground-esque open world thing, so I'm not going to complain too much about it, especially since this looks more like an actual level rather than a bunch of assets mish-and-mashed together. So, in terms of Sonic's abilities, he has his homing attack, or air dash if you're not near any enemies. A spin dash, which is pretty powerful. You can also hold said spin dash button while in the air to perform a drop dash. It's actually really fun to control. I remember when I was doing this on mouse and keyboard, and it just felt amazing to use this. Like, look at him go. Now, you can also find these 7 Chaos Emeralds on this map, too. I have collected them all before, but to my knowledge, I don't think you could do anything with them. I tried seeing if there was a way to turn into Supersonic once you got all the emeralds, but nothing was really triggering, so I'm gonna assume either I was doing something wrong or Supersonic does not exist, and these Chaos Emeralds are just here for now as a fun little collectible you can go and explore. For the sake of this video, I will not be going to the emerald locations, because I want you guys to check all the stuff out yourself. Because honestly, this fan game, while simple, especially more simple than the first one that I showed off, this is definitely a lot more fun. It's got some more merit to it than the last one that we played. If you liked Sonic Utopia, or if you like these kind of playground-esque Sonic games, then this might be the one for you for sure. I definitely give this game a 8 out of 10 as well. Kind of wish that there were some actual levels here, but hey, what we're given here is still really cool. Next on the list is Nexus Framework. This is designed after the Boost trilogy of Sonic games, Sonic Unleashed, Colors, and Generations. Even though it's not a trilogy and Forces exist. And they know about it too, because this was created in 2023. But that aside, what is this game truly about, you may ask? Sega, first and foremost. Do you see the Sonic Unleashed inspiration? So as you can see, we got some options. I don't know what I clicked on. Is this Emerald Coast? Am I Shadow? Alright. So Emerald Coast from Sonic Adventure, while we're playing as Shadow, who never even appeared in Sonic Unleashed. I'm not going to complain though, Year of Shadow. So as you can see, this kind of plays similarly to Sonic Unleashed in a lot of cases. Even a lot of the HUD elements are similar. Doesn't help that the camera on Roblox fucking sucks with the controller. You have your boost, pretty self-explanatory. It also gets stuck on everything apparently. You have a stomp and a slide naturally. I didn't know this was a thing. Why is it playing Undefeatable, though? Shouldn't it be playing, you know, like I Am All of Me or something, since I'm playing Shadow? Alright, so Shadow's dead. That's spoilers for Shadow Generations. So apparently, you could press Y to transform into their super form when you have 50 or more rings. I did not know that. And we're off. Look at this. Pretty nice, right? This is from the PS2 version. We also have a drift, it seems, but it's really scuffed for some reason. Like, sometimes it'll work fine, and then sometimes Sonic will just go to a completely different dimension. The rings are also insanely loud in this game and also lag up the game, but then again, my computer is also dying, so that's probably more of my fault, if anything. Now, the last level that we have not tried yet is Eggman Land. Yeah, these are actually how the levels are gonna look. And yes, Eggman Land just, shut the hell up. So yeah, Eggman Land just kind of stole the, music from, Seaside Hill from Sonic Heroes for some reason. I can't really tell you why in that accord. But hey, look, there's the gold ring. We already win. Oh, but we are just getting started because Act 2 has all the funnies. The funnies is what I translate to bullshit. So first off, we got the actual Eggman Land level, and you can see everything looks fine. We're not fine. So we go across here. Have our ears hurt? I'm not gonna boost near rings because I do not want to hurt my ears again. So I think this level's some form of a fucking only up kind of game, but Sonic Unleashed. I mean, how weird, right? Can't say it's a bad idea though. That homing attack not working was a bad idea. Overall, Nexus Framework does a pretty decent job recreating the Sonic Unleashed gameplay, but in Roblox. It's not perfect and the levels are there, but there was obviously some effort put into this. However, I don't really know how I feel about it on one end, how it's just trying to feel like Unleash in a lot of cases. Nothing wrong with that, considering that Unleash is one of my favorite games. But like, I don't know, man, I was kind of hoping for something original. But I will give this a 9 out of 10 because the effort here is pretty damn cool. The next game we're going to be looking at is Sonic Rebooted. This one takes some inspiration from the other Boost Formula games, and it actually has full-blown levels that are built around the gameplay and shit. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different levels here, and 3 of them we can play as Shadow for. So that's pretty neat. Hey, wait a minute, now that I'm looking at them, are those pretty much like the exact levels that we're going to be playing in Shadow Generations, with some exceptions? Wait, that's not entirely true. Sunset Heights is literally right there. So the first level that you can select is Sweet Mountain, which is weird. For the sake of familiarity, I'm going to go with Emerald Coast. Alright, we're in. And by the way, Sonic will do that little fall thing each and every time. You don't get to control it. So as you can see, the level is, well, it is Emerald Coast. It was designed in a way to fit for the gameplay style that Sonic has here, which I think is actually really neat. Doesn't help that I suck at Sonic games. Seriously, is it really that hard to... Why is this a trend with all Sonic fan games, where they can't seem to do fucking loops right? Now, I will say this, if you're playing this with a mouse or a keyboard, you're probably going to be in for a rough time. I mean that sincerely, it sucks. So do the 2D sections. Why do these exist? I find it funny how it has the Sonic Colors UI, but we cannot double jump like in Sonic Colors, and we have the tankiness of Sonic from Sonic Generations, while he has the Crystal Ring from Sonic Adventure. And unlike in other iterations of Emerald Coast, it just ends right when we get to the Act 2 section. So I know I didn't show this one off a lot, but I have more I could say about it in comparison to needing footage to back up my case. Overall, I think this game is not for me, primarily because Boost Formula Sonic just isn't my thing anymore. I just don't really care about it in the slightest. Not to say that they're bad games. I mean, literally one of my favorite Sonic games of all time is Sonic Unleashed. But it's just like, there's so many things that it influences with fan games, and it just kind of creates a fucking problem in a lot of cases, like how loops don't work and whatever. And I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 7 out of 10. I'll give them credit where credit's due. They did add a lot of levels from older Sonic games. Some levels that we haven't seen in years, so you know, that's cool. The next game I'm not gonna really show off per se, but I am going to make you guys bear witness to a few things. This is called Sonic Paradise. Now, I want you guys to ask yourself this. When you hear a Sonic game called Sonic Paradise, what are some things that might come to your mind? Perhaps an open world game? Perhaps a sandbox playground kind of game? What do you think of? Well, I'll tell you one thing. The first thing I wasn't expecting was SpongeBob music with Knuckles constantly falling. What, you thought I was kidding? So yeah, there are some skins you can have, and EXE is one of them, in case you hate yourself. You have to get points in order to unlock the different characters. So far, I've only been able to unlock Tails so far, but you do have some options, like Supersonic for some reason. Anyways, we have 3 categories of levels. Linear, which is essentially like normal levels, nothing too crazy. open world, which is, well, what do you think? And community stages, which I assume are made by the community. Now, Labyrinth Zone. I know it's like the worst stage in Sonic 1, but you guys gotta you listen to this. Just listen to what plays. Listen to the music. Does this sound like Labyrinth Zone music to you guys? This is a trend with this game, by the way. For some reason, a lot of the levels that exist in this game do not have their original soundtrack to them. And yet there are some levels that do have their original soundtrack. Hell, some of them even have remixes of their original tracks, like in Pumpkin Hill, which is one of the open world zones in this game. And it wouldn't be so bad if the tracks that they did add for these levels were kind of cool. I mean, I can say this kind of fits for Labyrinth Zone, but not in a good way. Now, luckily, we can return to main menu to immediately say, fuck that shit. To showcase another one, let's go to City Escape. You guys are probably expecting to hear the iconic City Escape music, right? No. Your headphones aren't bugging out. And there's nothing wrong with your stereo or whatever the fuck you want to say. There's actually no fucking music in City Escape. How did they screw this up? Genuinely, how? Yeah, Labyrinth Zone not having its original theme is pretty fucking stupid, but at least there was music implemented. There's fucking nothing here in City Escape. One of the most iconic Sonic Adventure 2 levels of all time. And not to mention these stairs, you just kind of gotta jump up for like no fucking reason. And then for some reason, these stairs are fine. By the way, gold rings do absolutely nothing. That's not a joke, by the way. You instead go through these portals and it starts the level all over. This is stupid. The linear levels are kind of a mixed bag. They will either have the correct music, the wrong music, or like City Escape, no music at all. But what if we go to open world? Well, let me tell you something about the open world. Most of them are fine in their own right, nothing too offensive, but do you remember the text in the title at the beginning when I first showed off this game? How it said heaven? That wasn't for no reason. Yeah, can't tell you why, but they put heaven in a Sonic game. They made a big deal out of this too, for the factor that it's in the title of the damn game. Wait, what? The pillars hurt you. Okay, when me and my brother first played this game, the dash panels didn't work, and the pillars, you actually clipped straight through them, as if they didn't even exist. But now, not only do the dash panels work, which is how it should have been in the first place, but now you mean to tell me that the fucking pillars have hurt boxes? For what reason? Sorry for that voice crack, what the hell? I don't exactly know why heaven of all things was brought into this game. Like, I really do not understand. They could have done something that would have made sense for a sky area, like Sky Sanctuary. Oh wait, they did that already. Or how about Babylon Garden from Sonic Riders? That too would have made a lot more sense than this. It's so out there and so fucking out of place. I was almost half expecting to... What is happening? Why is this happening? I was gonna talk about how I was surprised that Maria didn't show up anywhere, but that just kind of... Okay. And yeah, Sky Sanctuary is here. They could have done an open world iteration of that. But the community stages is what makes the least amount of sense to me. So as you can see, there's an Emerald Shrine, which is based upon the Emerald Shrine that exists for the Master Emerald in Sonic Adventure, blah blah blah, nothing crazy. And there's an Emerald Coast, blah blah blah, Seaside Hill, blah blah blah. But the two ones that stick out the most is Midnight City and Chemical Escape. We're gonna start with Chemical Escape because that's the least nefarious of the rest. I say the rest, like the others are problematic, like, don't worry about it. So as you can see, we appear to be in what looks like a portion of Chemical Plant, I think, at least. And we're supposed to try to get the hell out of here. Notice how I had to zoom out all the way just so I could see where the hell I'm going. Even that didn't help. Alright, the last level I want to show off here is, this monstrosity. Don't ask what this music is, I don't know either. So this just has, kind of everything cobbled together. There's really nothing special to it like that. There's a nightclub for some reason. Oh, yes, of course. There's really nothing cohesive to this level. It looks like it was trying to form what would look like a city, right? And, like, that's fine in its own right, but gotta ask, who the hell plays road spikes in front of a fucking pizza shop? That's also next to a pet shop. There's apparently 2 pizza shops. This one's called Hot Pizza, and for some reason the building's bigger than the other ones I came across. And I just get stuck on everything because the planes of all the fucking platforms and shit is just not perfectly aligned. So Sonic can just get stuck on virtually anything. Yeah, this level, sucks. In conclusion, a decent concept. I'm giving this a 5 out of 10. I don't like it, but in comparison to Sonic Infinity, there's at least stuff to do. Whether that's a good or bad thing, I'll leave up to you. And that was all of the games that I have to show off. Now, I know some of you guys probably would have wanted me to bring up Sonic.exe The Disaster, and while I do like this game, and I have been playing in the public alpha quite a bit since its release, I plan on making another video for this game later. And I've made 2 videos on this game before, so I'm not unfamiliar with The Disaster. But anyways, that was a bunch of Sonic games on Roblox that just, I mean, they exist, man. Some of them were pretty good, some of them were kind of but that's kind of to be expected when you're finding games on Roblox of all places. That said, even the games that I didn't really like as much as the others, the ones that I ranked under 5 or even 5 for example, they still had some merits to them, and there was some interesting stuff to see, and it was really cool to see some passionate fans of Sonic making games in Roblox of all places. And some of them have made some pretty decent stuff all in all. Anyways, that's gonna be all for this video. Again, if I didn't show off a specific game that you might have expected to see on here, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, and maybe I'll do a part 2 one day if this video does pretty well and more people would like to see some stuff like this. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here. Hope you all have a good day, night, afternoon, whatever it is where you're at, and just be sure to have a good one.